Hi there and welcome back. I'm Renee and this is the Canteen Cooks and we're back for another episode. So this week we had a lot of feedback from some of you about salads. So what we're going to do actually is we're going to make a master vinaigrette and then we're going to turn this vinaigrette into 3 different salads just by adding a few different things like maple syrup or tahini or some spices. So let's get started with the vinaigrette. All right, so this vinaigrette is super easy, and basically what we're gonna do is take this base and we're gonna turn it into 3 different salads. So what I've got is my bowl and my microplane. I like to microplane my garlic for my vinaigrette. That way I don't have any like large chunks. And you know, as for the garlic in here, you can add as little or as much as you want. I love garlic, keeps away the vampires. And I usually do like 3 or 4 cloves, but I've also been known to do like up to 10. And that's when my husband, that's right Doug, that's when you sleep in a different room, isn't it? All right, so I've got my garlic in here. I like to add lemon juice. You could do lemon juice or you could go for a vinegar, a sherry vinegar, apple cider. But luckily enough, I have all this lemon juice. So I'm gonna pour some in there. And what I like to do is I like to let my garlic sit in the lemon juice with a good amount of salt, like a good pinch, for a few minutes. And what that does actually is it mellows out the garlic. Often you'll have it and it has like that weird like bitterness. And you can taste it in the back of your throat. So I'm just gonna let this sit and mellow for a second. Now that this has been sitting for a minute or two, I'm gonna introduce my oil. I like to use canola oil. It has not a very intense flavor. It doesn't have an intense color. Sometimes what I like to do is I would do like a little bit of canola oil and then even just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I find that if you use just extra virgin olive oil, sometimes it can have that bitter flavor to it, which I don't like. So that's it. See how like simple and easy that is? And to this, let's say you wanted it to be more emulsified, you could add a spoonful of Dijon mustard or some grainy Dijon. So think of this as like your base, and then we're gonna add to it, and we're gonna make 3 different salads. Our first salad that we're gonna make is a carrot slaw. I've just taken a simple box grater. I have some heirloom carrots in here that I've just grated. I have like a deep orange, I have a yellow, and then I've got like another orange one. So I just like to do it on my box grater. I'm gonna add some dried currants. You could add cranberries or dried blueberries, but I like currants. Gives it a nice texture and flavor. Toasted pumpkin seeds. Again, you could go with sunflower seeds, you could go with toasted sesame seeds. This is all up to you. And then I like to add fresh cilantro. I love cilantro, a lot of people don't, but I think it adds a really nice brightness. And that's just gonna be like a rough chop in there. And for the vinaigrette, we are gonna take our base, and for this one, we're gonna add a little bit of maple syrup for sweetness. You could use honey, I've done both. Whisk that right in. A little bit of ground cumin seed. I think cumin and coriander are like best friends and they deserve to be together. And all I'm gonna do now is season it with a little bit more salt. Now I'm just gonna pour it over my salad. And remember what I've said before, you can always add, but you can't take away. So add as you need if you like it a little bit wetter or a little bit drier. I like this fairly wet, and you know what is perfect actually about this salad is it is so good the next day, and my kids really like it in their lunch too. It's like sweet and savory and tangy and crunchy. And that's it. Super duper simple. Doug, I know you haven't had lunch today, so I'm just gonna plate that up for you.
Oh, I love you.
I'm gonna add a few more currants.
This is one of my favorites.
I'm gonna add a little fresh cilantro. I'm gonna put a little olive oil, and I'm even gonna put a little sprinkling of Maldon salt.
Tell me about Maldon
Boom.
salt.
Maldon salt is a beautiful flaky salt that comes from England, and I love it because if you look at it really closely, it has all these beautiful like diamond patterns. It's a gorgeous thing, and it's not super salty, but I use it as a finishing salt. So if I'm finishing a steak or a piece of fish or a salad, I like to just put a little bit on top. It gives a nice little saltiness and a nice crunch.
How do you know if your vinaigrette is balanced?
How do you know if your vinaigrette is balanced? Well, obviously it depends on you, but for me, it has to hit everywhere on my tongue. So it hits the front, the back, and the sides. Too acidic, it'll basically like make your eyebrows sweat, which I often tell my staff is really good for the kale salad, but not necessarily for all vinaigrettes. If it doesn't have enough acid, it falls flat and then gets sort of like goopy and like oily. It's all about the balance. So often we think of like 2 to 1, so like 2 oil to 1 acid. So whether that be vinegar, lemon juice, lime juice. A really nice addition to add a little bit of richness is like a mustard, like I said, a Dijon or a grainy Dijon. Fresh herbs go great in here. Dried spices go great in a vinaigrette. And the good thing is you can make some, shake it up in a jar, which I know we've all done at home, and it keeps in the fridge, so you don't have to worry about going to the store and buying some more. All right, for our second salad, we're gonna do something that I really love. And then again, yet again, I mentioned my children, and yes, they do love this salad. We're gonna do a farro salad. Now, farro is a grain. It is wheat, so it is not gluten-free. Some people call it spelt. It's an Italian grain that they call farro. I could go on and on about it, but I'm not. So we're basically gonna do, take our base, and I'm gonna add some tahini paste. I love tahini paste because it does have that nuttiness, it has that richness. A lot of us know it because, you know, we use it in hummus. Dried sumac, which is used a lot in Middle Eastern cooking, so it's a berry. I find that it tastes a lot like lemon. It gives a really nice acidity to it. And I'm gonna use lemon zest. Now we do have lemon juice in our vinaigrette, but I love the zest. And a little trick, which I always tell everybody, when zesting, go one way, turn, one way, turn, one way, turn. And the reason for this is because, well, A, you're gonna kill your microplane because you're gonna be going back and forth, so it's not gonna stay sharp. 2, you don't want to get any of that white pith because that has a lot of bitterness to it. And I can smell like the nice scent of the lemon zest, and you get all those really nice essential oils in there. Next, again, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, and I'm going to whisk this up. Super easy. In farro, you can just boil in water until it's soft. I've got some grape tomatoes that I got from Noggins that I'm just going to throw in there. Feta, I love feta. It's got that nice saltiness and it's firm, so it doesn't break down in your salad. So a handful of feta.
Why do you always make fun of me when I use feta? I love feta.
Because I just want to make fun of you. And I'm going to add a little bit of cucumber in there as well. Dice it up quickly and throw that in there. And for this one, we're going to use dill. Dill to me was not something that I really grew up with. It's not something that my mom used a lot at home, but I absolutely love dill. It's delicate, it's flavorful, it's pretty. So just a quick chop of that as well into our bowl with all of our ingredients. I'm just going to mix this in, mix everything together, and then we're gonna add a little bit of our vinaigrette. And Doug, what did I say last time?
You can always add, but you can never take away.
I'm gonna get a t-shirt that says you can always add, but you can never take away, because I think I say it about 30 times a day here at work. Mix this up, and that's it. See how simple that one is? This one also really, really keeps well and sits well and only gets better with age. I mean, Doug, you met me when I was 30. Now I'm 46. Do you think I've gotten better with age?
Like a fine wine.
Like a fine wine. Sometimes I almost say that I'm pickled, but I'm not. Anyway, so this is salad number 2. Doug, you're also going to have this for your lunch. And again, as everyone will tell you, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of Maldon salt, and a little bit of dill just to finish it off. And that is our farro salad. Now on to our last one. For our final salad, this certainly isn't the least of all the salads, is the kale. I know everyone has heard about kale, is tired of kale. I still love kale. So we've got our vinaigrette. I actually add a little extra garlic to this one. I add a little shot of Worcestershire And if you really wanted to, you could even put a little bit of anchovy in there, which I absolutely love. What you have to do is get your kale and just quickly take it off the stem, break it up. I make this salad at home a lot for the kids. My son actually calls it crouton salad. And the reason he calls it crouton salad is because at home I usually take all the leftover sourdough that we have here at the restaurant and I toast it up with lots of olive oil and salt and pepper, and he eats that first, but then I make him eat the kale. I've got my kale in here. I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt, and I'm just gonna toss it in here. A lot of people say you should massage your kale. I don't like to massage it, but I like to at least give it like a good sort of workout.
Why do you do that?
To tenderize it, but I like to make sure that every speck of that kale is covered in this vinaigrette. Often I would put, like I said, croutons, but today, and what I love to do, is to add some beautiful shaved Asiago. There's an amazing Italian cheesemaker here in Nova Scotia named Ciro, and he makes this gorgeous Asiago. This is a 3.5-year-old, super, super rich, beautiful salt crystals. And I'm just gonna take my vegetable peeler and just do some beautiful shaved pieces right on top to finish it. Like I said, you could add anchovies to this, croutons to this, but this is basically a meal in a bowl. And I'm gonna invite Doug over because he's been watching me make these and I know he hasn't had lunch and
Starving.
I know he wants to try them.
Starving.
And of course he will let me know which one's his favorite, I'm sure.
Well, they're all beautiful, I'll tell you that right now. And it's, I've been privileged enough to be on the receiving end of Renee's salads for many years now. And I would tell you that there's no other person that can make salads quite like this lady here. Well, that one's delicious. It's very like bright. And it's got some interesting spices going on there. The farro is one of my favorites. It's basically like a meal. It's very hearty, which I love. You feel very satisfied afterwards. This and of course the kale. I eat this pretty much every day at Little C before our lunch service. It's my go-to. The beauty of masks nowadays with COVID is that no one can smell my breath after I eat the kale salad, which is good. It's a little
Only
filter
me.
for everyone. So
Only me
only you.
and the
Yes,
kids
true.
and the staff. All right, that is it. Make sure to leave comments or ideas because we do read them because look at this, you have salads.
Hit the subscribe button. Send us your requests for future episodes.
What will happen next week? I don't know.
All right, have a great week, people.
Thanks, guys.